Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, today our topic is your perception is your reality. I want you to think about it for a second. I want you to stay with me because this is such an important process, especially in today's world, especially in what is going on in our lives right at this moment. That your perception is your reality. And this is driven by there was an interview a while back. It was in a book, and I was reading about these two gentlemen, 30 years old, identical twins. All right, identical twins. They grew up in the same mom and dad. They grew up in the same exact household. They actually shared a room for most of their life. Wore the same clothes. Went to the same schools. All of the nature and nurture was the same for both of them. And on their 30-year-old birthday, they were interviewed. One of them was just getting out of his 7th stint in rehab. The other one was the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. And in the interview, the lady asked the first young man, here you are, your 7th rehab. What do you attribute this to at this moment? And his answer was, well, you see, my father was a raging, abusive alcoholic. When you hear it, you think, oh. And then she turned immediately to the other one and said, what do you attribute yours to? He looked at her with that same exact look. And he said, well, you see, my father was a raging, abusive alcoholic. You see, here are two identical twins who have the exact same nature and nurture of life, but their perception was their reality. That how one perceived it the way the other perceived it, they went in opposite directions. You see, that is the power that each and every one of us has in our life right now in this moment. You see, we have the ability, the lens that you look through, the things that you consume, the things that you watch, that you listen to, that you eat, every single thing will be your perception. How you see it will determine your reality. You see, every situation is handled differently by people because we're all individuals, because we're all human, and none of it's perfect. None of it. But the truth, the absolute truth is that your perception is your reality. See, there's an amazing book out right now called Chatter by this acclaimed psychologist, Ethan Kross, I believe his name is, okay? And he talks about the silent conversations we have with ourselves. You see, and he warns in there that giving into the negative and disorienting self-talk, what he calls, his book is titled Chatter, it can tank our health, sink our moods, strain our social connections, and cause us to truly just fold under pressure. You see, that inner talk, that inner voice, you see, those two young men had completely different inner voices because everything on the out was the same. Everything they were told, everything they were showed was the same. The difference was the inner talk. You see, Ethan Kross, the psychologist, he calls it engaged chatter. It's getting stuck in the cycle of negative thinking and feeling. And listen, we all have it. But how we handle it, what we do is what matters. So understanding that voice, that inner chatter, that negative, disorienting self-talk, the thing that it can sap all of us, it can literally change your health. Imagine that. That inner voice right now could be literally changing your cells, your health. But here's the good news, is that we can also make that inner voice work in our favor. You see, we can also do it the exact same way. You see, because it's not just one way, good or bad. You see, we have that control. It's really unbelievable, because if a lot of us, if those voices and that self-talk that happens, that inner voice that's going on, that internal narrative that's happening, if people actually heard it, holy cow, right? And you know, the thing is, most of us wouldn't even talk to other people the way that we talk to ourselves. So why is it okay? You want to know why? Because most of the time, it's going undetected. Most of the time, it started at a very young age, and we've just perpetuated it all these years, not even really knowing that we're doing it. We don't even realize it half the time. But if your perception is your reality, well, damn, let's change it. Because literally, start asking yourselves, and here's what I want you to understand, is that in order for us to change it, the easiest way to do that is that we must get our thoughts, words, and actions in alignment. So what I think and what I say and what I do is in alignment. It is all together. Because when that happens, now it's very easy to break out of the self-talk. What we call it at Optimal Self is self-synergy. You've heard me talk about this a lot. Those of you guys that have been around, if you haven't, go back and listen. There's several other podcasts where I go really deep into what true self-synergy is. And even for Ethan Kross, even in the book Chatter, he talks about true self-control is when our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are in alignment with our goals. When our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are in alignment with our goals, right? That's what he calls true self-control. So that means most of us are not ever in or having any kind of self-control. We're always flying by the seat of our pants. We're always, it's why we get overwhelmed. That's why we get so much decision fatigue, is because we're not truly in alignment. But this is your opportunity. This is it's so simple. It's not easy, but it's very simple. You see, when those thoughts start happening, when you start having those negative thoughts, when you feel yourself going down that road, you're like, oh shit, here we go again, right? And you feel like you're stuck in that chatter, right? I want you to ask yourself, is this thought serving me? Is this feeling serving me? Is it in alignment with who I want to be and with where I want to go? See, those of you guys that coach with me, those of you guys that are part of our group, you've heard me say this all the time, because I have the same things. I want you guys to know that, man, we all struggle with certain parts of our life. And part of my life is making sure that my morning is set, man, that I'm knocking out the things, that my intention is set, that my movement is done, that my hydration is there, because I know that when those things happen, I am truly living the best version of me. And I know that at that point, I can help others do the same. But I have to do me first. And there's many days where you struggle. A lot of different things going on in our lives. We've had some massive tragedy within our family over the last, 8 to 10 months. And there's a lot of different things that happen. And I know there's many out there that have the same. And those days when it's tough, those days when I don't want to do it, I just have to ask myself, what would the best version of you do? I know you don't want to do it. I know you feel like laying here. I know you don't feel like meal prep. I know you don't feel like it. But let's just ask, what would the best version of you do? And the moment I'm honest with myself and I answer that question, man, the decisions are easy and the right shit gets done. You know why? Because now I'm back in alignment with who I want to be and where I want to go. And it's very easy to stay on in those moments. So I want you guys to have this. I want you to take heed of this. And even when you could go back, there's a great podcast about emotional intelligence a couple back. And I want you guys to listen to it because he talks that doctor talks really deeply about the things that we react to when we're being reactionary, what's causing that. And part of that is the same thing we're saying right now, right? You can practice this on your way home. You might be listening to this in the car right now, stuck in traffic. Those of you that are in California, man, I know that traffic is gnarly. It is so nasty. And there's that person merging, whatever. They cut you off. They don't. The cars aren't moving. Like, you're just like, oh, my Lord, right? You're feeling it. But ask yourself, whoa. Take a deep breath. Get that deep breath in. Maybe 2 or 3 of them. And ask yourself, is this feeling serving me right now? Is this the best version of me? Look, I'm not saying don't get pissed off every now and then. I'm not. Do it. We need it. It's part of being human. But what I'm saying is you can't live there. Because just like we started this, because your perception becomes your reality. That inner narrative, that internal narrative, those words that you're using, the most important conversations on earth, you know which ones they are? The ones we have with ourselves. What's that conversation look like? Start paying attention to it. Start being aware. And when it's taking you down a road and it's taking you off alignment, ask yourself, is this serving me? Is this the best version of me? Is this how I want to show up in the world? Because the world needs the best version of you. It needs you to stand up. It needs you to be unapologetically great. It's time. Create that. You want to change your reality? Change your own personal perception. Change the words that you use. Get them in alignment with your actions towards your goals. And you're going to feel it. That self-synergy happens. And man, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right? Get out there. Get your self-synergy. Get rid of that engaged chatter. Get rid of that cycle of negative thinking and feeling. Address it. Reframe it. And go live that life you deserve. All right? There you go. That is today's topic. That is today's live. So do me a favor. Right now, hit that like, hit that subscribe wherever you're listening, and do me this favor. Share it with somebody. There's somebody right now that needs to change their perception so that they can have a different reality, because they too deserve to be the best version of themselves. Share it. We appreciate it. And as always, jump over to www.optimalself.today and get into the private group, please. You're going to love it. We got a lot going on, a lot more to come, and we need you in there because we need the best version of you. The world and your family needs your optimal self. Have an awesome morning, afternoon, or night whenever you're hearing this. And until next time, get out there and be the best version of you.